The money is cool, obviously, and the money essentially brings you the freedom in a way. A lot of it is also the time freedom and the location freedom. Like it's such an amazing feeling. The advice I would give is pretty simple. You have to have your edge or your approach and then have the experience, because it comes by time. Like you get better at it by time.
Do you think that the struggles, we're coming from a place where you were struggling for money. Do you think that sort of fueled, making this like it has to work, right? There's no other option. Do you think that's been a part of the success?
Personally, I love it because it's, on some firms, like the fees do add up immensely. Like if you hold a trade like just a week, even on some pairs.
We're here with Harry, who's flown all the way from Germany to get paid out live. But first, let's hear his story. Well, firstly, thank you for coming all the way down.
Thank you for the invitation.
Or across,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
how long did it take you to get here?
In total, not that long. It's a 1 hour drive to the airport, then 1 hour flight, and then 1 hour drive with the taxi to here from Stansted.
Yeah.
So like 3 hours in total.
So all the way from Germany. Whereabouts?
All the way from Germany, yeah.
Whereabouts in Germany?
In the north near Bremen.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And that's what, about an hour past Berlin?
You mean the time?
No, like it's how long it takes you to get.
Is it further? Actually,
is it really?
Further. Berlin is like 4 hours or something.
Oh wow! Oh, quite further.
It's basically on the other side, basically. So Berlin's in the east, basically, and where I live is more to the west side of Germany. Yeah.
Nice.
And you said small town.
Yeah.
How did you discover trading from being in a small town, and what's your experience been like from the very, very start of your journey to now traveling around Europe, 5-figure payouts? Talk to us a little bit about how you dived into it and what that process has been like.
Yeah, because your life must have changed since.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, to a certain degree, of course. I mean, I'm not yet like exactly where I want to be, but obviously, it definitely you notice the changes for sure. So I discovered trading like 6 years ago, probably.
Okay.
I initially got into it because of a friend of mine in school. He had some money on the side to invest, and he kind of like showed me that. That was just normal investing, buying stocks, and I got like super hooked on that. I found it super interesting. So I just used a couple €100 I had, like pocket money basically when I was younger, to just buy some random stocks and just dabble around a bit with that. And from that point onwards, I kind of got into that thing of like, faster selling these kind of stocks faster and trying to. And so from that point onwards, I completely got into that side of like trading or day trading myself, just simply by pure interest. From that point onwards, but he was initially the one who showed me, and from there on, it's just been kind of like a ride in that sense. You go down further down the route and discover new things, learn new things, and I think I'd say I was pretty hooked as soon as I discovered it, because I didn't really take many breaks. There was one time where I did take a break, kind of like forced by life circumstance and other things, but it wasn't like for long, and I got back into it immediately. Just a little setback, if you want to say so, and took its time, obviously, but I'd say we've reached a point where you can make a living from it, and have that freedom to travel and whatnot.
Talk to us about the freedom. How does that feel? I suppose from before sort of trading, I take it you had maybe a normal job or 9 to 5. How has it changed your life with the freedom?
Yeah, the freedom is, I think probably, I think for many people, it's like the biggest thing about it. Also for me, like the money is cool, obviously, and the money essentially brings you the freedom in a way. But a lot of it is also the time freedom and the location freedom. Like it's such an amazing feeling to just be wherever in the world and be able to still kind of like work. I can just book a trip.
Like today.
Exactly, like today or next week, or I'm visiting a friend in Malta.
Nice.
And I can work from there, like it's not an issue, right? I can work in the morning, trade, have my outlooks and stuff prepared, and then be able to navigate the working day whilst being out and about.
Just on that, do you find it easier to like trade on the go from your mobile, or do you have like your setup that you're in your routine, you like your setup? Like what works best for you, and what do you find?
For me, for me, it's executing just on the mobile phone. Like I've always done it that way. I think a lot of it is just to do with being what you're used to. Kind of, I can execute well on my phone because I've done it thousands of times. So for me, that's just natural. But I obviously do my analysis and all that stuff on a laptop. I think that is definitely important. To have that proper bigger screen to look at the things. So I definitely need that. But aside from that, as soon as I've got that, I can just kind of execute on the go on the phone because I know what I'm looking for. I'm just chilling. Just doing what I'm doing. I've got an alarm, whatever, and then to get involved.
Would you say you're a lot more? So would you say you're a lot more relaxed with like your approach or leading up to trading and the way you'd look at the charts now compared to, let's say, when you might have first started?
100%. I mean, it is a process, right? Like with anything, it takes time. You kind of have to figure out your way about it, a strategy that suits you, an approach that suits you, and then once you have that, you have to like work on it until you can make it profitable, whatever, through back testing, live testing, and whatever. And then to actually be able to confidently execute that and not be like doubting yourself all the time, you need the experience as well and the reps. So it does take time. But 100%, like it's a big difference. Like I'm pretty confident in what I'm looking for. And so I'm mostly chill about it. Like I don't really bother too much anymore. Obviously there's rougher periods when you're on a loss streak. Of course, I think you always have that. You will always have that, but there's no comparison to.
He seems very chilled.
I mean, it's how can it be?
Nice.
I think as well, you touched on something very interesting there, because I read an interesting quote that around success being on the other side of repetitive failure with a firm belief or discipline that success can be achieved over time. Something that we see time and time again, particularly with people on their first, second or third account, is they'll take one trade that might not go their way and then they'll revenge trade until that
pattern that 100%.
What's been your experience with that, if any at all? And if you did go through that, what tools or resources or experiences could you provide newer people who might be struggling with that?
100%. I mean, my advice in that regard is it's pretty simple, realistically. I think you just have to accept that it does take time, and I think I would have been better off had I like properly known that. I mean, obviously you hear it, people tell you, or people tell beginners, but it's not necessary that you actually live by it. And I think just knowing that it takes your time, like you can't just expect it to work immediately within a couple months or whatever. It's just unrealistic. And so I think the first thing you need is like a strategy or an approach that you can like consistently replicate. That could be like somewhat discretional as well, but I think that works better when you're at a later stage, when you have some experience. At the beginning, I think it's easier to have a mostly mechanical system. And then the advice I would give is pretty simple. I think you have to have your edge or your approach, and then have the experience, because it comes by time. Like it's just experience at that point. Like it comes, you get better at it by time. You get more confident with it. You have more data as well. Like the data is very key for me, because like being able to look, I've got like 2.5 or 2 years roughly of actual like live trading data, trading myself, and that helps so much. Like being able to look back on that, knowing things like average win streak, loss streak, all that stuff. It's crazy how much that helps. And then also like life situation, I think, is a big thing. Like when I started it, I did quit school back then to pursue trading. I actually did, but I was like confident in it, even though I would have wished it would have worked out sooner. But my life situation wasn't great. Like I was basically struggling for money, and in that position, it's extremely hard to be able to trade.
Just on that, do you think that the struggles, we're coming from a place where you were struggling for money. Do you think that sort of fueled, making this like it has to work, right? There's no other option. Do you think that's been a part of the success?
Yeah, 100%. I think so, definitely. Essentially, it's a path you choose. It's a big commitment, right? And I don't want to be the guy who quits school to end up as a failure or whatever. I did have a strong belief that I would achieve it, and I always kept going. Just aside from that little break, but I was just to recalibrate. 100%. Yeah, definitely.
What would you say your goal is around trading? Like, what do you really want to get out of it? Where could you see yourself sort of from now? Let's say 5 years, 10 years from now, right?
Yeah, I think we touched on that a bit earlier. I think trading will always be a part of my life as of right now.
Yeah.
I think it'll always play some kind of a role, but I think it is definitely in the realm of possibilities that it may turn down a little in the future, go more towards the direction of, I don't know, swing trading or just less time on the charts basically, and
changing your approach.
Exactly. And then focusing also on long-term investing and all that stuff, to then also potentially go in the direction of, creating an own business or something like that. Something I'd be interested in the future. Yeah.
Out of curiosity on that, you touched on it because we speak on WhatsApp from time to time. He occasionally drops me a little message. I've got this one. I'm up 4%. Just one more day to do. Just to let me know he's still here. Yeah. But
letting you know.
What I've noticed is you, or I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Your approach seems to have changed with the trades that you take on the accounts with us anyway. That you are holding for longer now, comparative to when you were with us 18 months ago.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can touch on that. There's also another reason for that. I have a day trading kind of strategy where I'm mostly in and out on the same day. Yeah. And then I also swing trade a bit. And obviously with you guys, with Quant Tekel, you have the swap-free accounts, which is a big benefit. So I like to use my Quant Tekel funded account also to swing trade at times, which is where that also comes from, because of that benefit to have the swap-free account. That helps a lot, which not a lot of firms actually have, I believe. I mean, actually, I don't think any other firm that I use has it.
No,
to be honest.
We are. I think we're the only one.
We should really market that more, to be honest with you.
Here we are.
I think it's a great feature, honestly. For me personally, I love it because it's, on some firms, like the fees do
of course it does,
you hold the trade like just a week, even on some pairs. Yeah.
How many firms would you say that you're currently trading with at the moment?
I think like 7 or 8 CFD firms, something like that.
And where would you say, based on, I'm not asking to sort of go into detail about who these firms are, but where do you think that we would rank, your QT trading experience compared to, let's say, out of the 8 that you're currently trading?
For me personally, it would be definitely amongst the top ones. I mean, there's a few, like there's 1 or 2 other ones that are also really good in terms of the service. Like I don't have to lie about that, but I think definitely, like I've always had a good experience with you guys.
Amazing.
I've always been treated very well as a customer. Any kind of like issues or whatever always got rectified. You were always able to speak to somebody. So it would definitely rank amongst especially also with the trading conditions, because for me that's a really big thing. I think a lot of people value just good trading conditions simply, like not being
just on that. How do you, because obviously I take it you're trading with other spreads.
Yes, I think I do.
Yeah, and how would you say that our spreads compare to a lot of the other ones that you're currently trading?
They're pretty good. Like the spreads are pretty much top notch, I'd say. I don't think you can get much better, to be honest. And also not just that, you also have like pretty good like slippage and stuff, right? Or almost. Yeah, I mean, I would almost say that I can't really imagine ever getting like slipped by any crazy amounts. I think that's pretty good. Like, because that is something feedback. That is annoying, when you get
of course
a mad slippage, like,
that's
a big benefit.
That's really good to hear,
I saw on the Discord the other day a chap was upset because he got positive slippage, but it was on an instant account, so he made an extra 0.5% over.
Which means he has to make more.
But it meant his consistency score wasn't where he wanted it to be. But
I mean,
I've never seen a complaint about that before. But there we go.
I've never heard it.
Out of curiosity, if you've got 7 or 8 firms,
I think
that
so.
you trade with, what's that experience like managing 7 or 8 different sets of rules, 7 or 8 different sets of conditions, 7 or 8 different sets of trading styles or strategies? And what's the process been to learn how to manage that effectively? Because I see a lot of people talk about scaling up is the only way to achieve true success with props. You're someone who's actively done that. What helped with that?
I mean, I would actually even say that I think that's a skill just for itself. Even like actually properly digging into the rules and all that stuff is actually a skill for itself, because far too little people, I see so many complaints on X and wherever about like specific rules, and I got breached for this. But then you kind of like look into the rules and you see, okay, I mean, the rules there, though. What do you want to argue about it? And I think people just don't take that whole side of things seriously enough. Like you actually have to understand that you have to look into the rules, because you only get paid if you follow the rules. So obviously you have to take that part as serious. It doesn't gain you anything if you bank a huge trade, but you've breached a rule along the way. You have to make sure it's in line with the rules. So that is a whole different skill set itself. That is actually quite important, especially with multiple firms, 100%. I mean, I think I understood that somewhere along the path. So I'd say I'm someone who always does like the due diligence. I do check the rules probably more than anybody like I really know. Sometimes in between you'll just catch me like when I'm having a thought, I'm just going on the FAQ, just quickly checking it just so I'm sure. Probably more often than anybody else. And I think that's something that helps or helped me a lot, especially when you navigate so many firms. And then obviously at some point you kind of have it a bit by heart, it. So it's easier then. You only rarely have to like check. But it's very important. As I said, you have to.
Amazing.
It's interesting you touched on that, because there's a lot of comparison between live trading on a brokerage for personal funds and prop, and the difference, freedoms or lack of freedoms, depending on where you look or what you trade. Do you trade live as well, or do you just focus on prop?
I have actually started a live account since, I believe, end of November. That was actually my first one. I haven't like put any huge amounts into it yet, or like gone crazy with it. But just to kind of like, I guess dabble into it, if you want to say so.
What's that experience been like, moving from prop to dabbling in that, and how has trading prop first helped you with that process?
I think the big benefit of prop firms is kind of like the risk management side of things, and the way it kind of teaches you to have to work in that set of rules and in a set of risk. Because on a personal
teaching
account,
you the risk management around
exactly. On a personal account, I can do anything. I mean, I could completely, order block spam or whatever. I could do anything, full port news, you name it. But
in short, makes you more disciplined.
Exactly. Especially with the risk side of things, like understanding that like you don't want to. I mean, it depends how you want to trade it, right? There's different approaches to it. You can also actually purposely go for a flip, for example, and that's then in a way a calculated gamble. I think that's different, but still, it like in the whole side of things, it just helps you manage risk a lot better, and that's such a key thing, because if you don't do that, you could blow your account within a day, like your personal account, and then it's real money, and then it's not just the 500 for the challenge or whatever. So,
And let me ask you something else. I mean, myself and Alex always like asking, our traders, our customers, clients, trying to ask them, what changes or updates they would like to see, like positive, like feedback from them. Like we built this business off like trying to understand more about our community, our traders' experience. So if there was anything that you could see QT doing in the future, or any, let's say, update, what might that be?
So I think first and foremost, like having the good trading conditions and keeping that, I think does a lot. Like honestly, I think that is a big thing. So I think if you can stay on your game with that, that will definitely help a lot. But aside from that, I think just a few. I mean, I heard I was mentioned the thing about this risk tool with this automated news breaching and stuff. I think that is very helpful because there's another firm who I'm trading with right now. I don't have to name it, but like I'm in drawdown right now on the account, but I'm unsure whether I've breached the rule or not, and I've reached out to support, but they haven't. Like they said they can't tell me ahead of having the payout, right? And it's also like restricted in the risk, so it's kind of like a gamble if you can get it, and it's quite frustrating because it's been in that position for a while. I've kind of like written off the I don't mind, right? But still.
Just on that, that's interesting you said that. Does that affect your psychology as like moving forward?
100%, because it makes it hard to actually properly trade on that account because that constant worry of will I even get paid anyways? Especially when you take a loss, you're kind of just like, F it, I'll just,
It's really good you said that because this is something that myself and Alex, when bringing the risk tool into place, was something that, we always try and put ourselves in like the trader's shoes and the trader position and obviously trying to understand like the psychology and how we can help that. From because people do breach rules or whatever that might be, but if we can try and get that to you as quick as possible, that you understand what's happened and more information around that, we'd like to think it would help the psychology and the trader's experience.
It's a big thing. So 100%. As I said, I think having heard that, I think that would be a great implementation. I mean, obviously you get notified when it's the daily or the max anyways, but for things like news, or I don't think you have any loss of restrictions, do you? But anything else that's potentially like that could just kind of like happen on the go, you don't notice. I think that is a big thing, 100%, because it's what frustrates a lot of people, including myself. Like it's annoying when you have an account for 3 months, you recover the drawdown, working hard for it, and then the night, and you're like, well, what was the point?
Happened?
Like I could have just blown it right away, So that, and maybe just a few. I think like a few like smoothness things on the dashboard, I'd say. Like sometimes, for example, in my case, like the payout date doesn't immediately update by itself. So there's like a few times where I have to reach out to support to tell them, okay, look, payout date is passed. Can you update it again? So like few where it just automatically runs over. Like I don't know how you could categorize that. Just like smoothness in certain. It's small things essentially. So it's not the end of the world, but I think those would be the main things.
Nice.
The things that we've got coming up, we're working on a few tech updates now for that specifically. There's quite a big update coming next month with regard to that,
which we're excited about.
And then the other side of the coin that we've tried to do is we've removed some of the smaller accounts that we offer to try and speed up the quality and the quality and the amount of time that our support and our staff can spend with our clients, because it means if you have less of those accounts, there's less of a volume of people to look out for. Obviously, we want to be able to provide a trading experience for everybody, but you can't do it at the detriment of all people who you're with. You've been super patient coming here and waiting for a live payout. So should we get you paid? So Harry, let's get you paid. Yeah, you are owed a grand total of $12,665, which I will ping over to you right now. 1 moment. So 12,665. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's now been paid.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
That will hit your wallet in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Pleasure being
nice. Thank you. So we're also joined by Zaki, one of our traders at QT, and we just thought this would be a good experience and a good opportunity to be able to both have a chat and hear some more feedback from both of you in regards to a bit more in depth about your trading experiences and your journey with QT so far.
Lovely. Nice to meet you, Harry.
Nice to meet you too, man. Nice to meet you too.
First and foremost, how much is the payout for today?
I think it's 12.6k USD.
12.6k USD. Lovely.
Yeah.
How many trades did that take?
I think it was mainly a swing trade
Okay.
on Nasdaq.
Nasdaq, lovely.
And then just a few other small trades to make the profitable days.
When you're swing
happen.
trading on Nasdaq, what are you looking for? Explain the strategy to me.
It's pretty simple. Like I'm focused obviously on the higher time frame because I'm swing trading. With Nasdaq, we've been in an uptrend since
we've
I don't know
created
when, like
all-time highs,
all-time highs,
yeah.
exactly. So it's kind of easy. I'm just following the trend. I'm looking for major areas on the higher time frame, on the H4 daily, for sweeps basically, and trying to get involved after the sweep, having some confirmation after the sweep basically. So it's pretty simple.
What would you class what would you class the name of your strategy?
It was always termed or coined as supply and demand.
Okay.
So I'd name it that, but I think this whole like naming thing is always a bit like,
makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for people so they can relate, it's a supply and demand based strategy. I'm looking at trend, order flow, and liquidity mainly to get involved. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the order flow, because I know a lot of people. Obviously, you're on social media, Twitter, right?
Yeah, Twitter
order
and
flow,
Instagram now.
So order flow has, from what I've seen on social media, order flow has recently been making its appearance more and more on social media. When did you get into the order flow side of things?
Sorry, what?
When did you get into the order flow side of things?
Order flow. Actually, quite early on already, because where I learned trading, that was or the community where all the mentors I initially was with, still kind of, well, at least still in touch. They have used that concept for years. Like it's been a core core part of the strategy. I think it's just that I kind of like use it a bit differently than maybe like generally people do. But so yeah, I've been doing it for years actually, or using it for years. Basically.
Okay, and you touched on mentors. Okay, obviously your mentors would have taught you how to trade a specific way. Do you still trade in that specific way, or have you adapted to it? You added your own intuition to it, or is it something copy and paste?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's not entirely copy and paste, obviously, no. I don't think that's really possible. That's also why kind of like signal services and stuff don't really work, at least not really well. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still based around that, but obviously you learn your own kind of ways. Like there's small things, small details that I do differently or I view differently. The core strategy is very similar or the same. Yeah, of course, you have to kind of figure out your own way.
Fair. Sure. And obviously you mentioned that it was a swing trade that got you this 12K payout.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
So in terms of risk to reward, what do you normally target when it comes down to your trades?
So for my usual day trading strategy, it's slightly different. Like I'll go for a 1 to 3 at least, and then it could range up to anything until like 1 to 10. That's kind of where I cap it. Anywhere in between there it could be. Depending on the setup, basically, because I just take technical targets. But for this specific swing trade, I think it was just like a 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Because in the higher time frame, it's slightly different. I use bigger stops. Obviously, you have a higher win rate due to that.
Okay, and do you scale in your swing trade as well? Or do you just
I think this one I actually did. Yeah, like sometimes it can make sense for sure. If you've got a good winning position, it definitely makes sense to scale into, and like areas where it makes sense. You know, when you get a new structure point created where you can say, okay, this technically shouldn't be taken out, and then you get a new sweep or whatever. Yeah.
You mentioned that you have 2 years worth of data, right?
I have live data, live
trading data. So
for myself, actually, yeah.
So talk to me about, obviously you mentioned the risk to reward being 1 to 3 on a normal basis.
That's like the minimum I
in terms of your trading frequency, let's say on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, what is that? And on top of that, what's the win rate like with your strategy?
For my strategy is not that high actually. Obviously, which comes with the higher risk to reward. For the day trading side of things, it's usually somewhere between 30 and 40%. It kind of depends on the month. You know, if you've got good months, it will go closer to 40, and the other way around. So that was one thing. And the other thing that you asked was,
oh shit, I forgot.
I forgot myself.
It was the win rate and the frequency you've answered.
The frequency, not that much actually. Like with that approach, especially that considering I also mostly trade Euro and DAX for that, it's on average I'd say like 20 trades a month.
20 trades a month. So okay,
that's 5 a week, 1 a day basically.
Okay, fair. That's solid.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously the 30%, 40% win streak, right? So from my personal data, I trade 1 to 2. All right, I have between a 50 and 60% win rate. Okay,
That's great.
which is it works for me.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
what
works,
I've
man.
realized from my own personal data and the data that I've collected is when I go for a losing streak, I will go through losing streaks. The worst I've had is 7 trades back to back losing. What has the worst losing streak been like for
Mine's
you?
been larger, man. Mine's been larger.
Go on, talk to us about
My
it.
largest one used to be like 10 or 11. And then like this past November, I had one that actually I topped it by quite a bit. I think we're talking like 17, 18 trades or so. That was really tough mentally, to be honest.
So 17, 18 trades,
Yeah,
back to back losses. No one talks about the losses. Tell me, were these on evaluations, live accounts? Did you blow accounts? How was it?
All of it basically. So they were on evaluation accounts and funded accounts. Because I have both, right? You're working on funding whilst you have funding,
Yeah.
and you have to replace the accounts that you lose, essentially. Well, at least that's how I do it. So yeah, I think I definitely did lose like a couple accounts because of it. Because
did that hurt your self-esteem, or not your self-esteem, like your self-belief in your strategy? Did you ever think that maybe this is okay, cool, strategy is no longer working? Did you ever go through a phase where you thought your strategy is going through alpha decay, whatever it might be?
Yeah, it's a very important topic. Like, definitely, it's good you touch on it. I mean, I would say that it dented it perhaps at that time. I wouldn't say it like completely broke it, because I had enough data in the past, and also now with AI tools, like I kind of like calculating stuff, like knowing, okay, like even with my kind of average win rate, you could still have 20, 25 in a row on like a 1,000, 2,000 trades. It's possible in theory. So that kind of like calmed me. But obviously, considering it was uncharted territory, it was still tough mentally, 100%. But in the end, yeah, luckily I got out of it, and it ended, right? So yeah.
Okay, obviously you went through the losing streak. What do you think the market conditions were back then during that losing streak, and how was it different to now? Is it just choppy price action, or was it just your strategy wasn't thinking hitting as?
Yeah, I mean, it was in November, right? So this was like
because personally in December,
yeah.
I had 6 trades back-to-back losses.
Yeah.
I stopped trading all of December. I stopped trading the first 2 weeks of January because price action was disgusting.
Makes sense.
And then only last week or the week before, I started getting back into it. So I identified that, okay, cool, this is a very, very low probability area or timing for me to be taking trades. At what point do you think, okay, cool, this is low probability, I'm off the charts, I'll take a break?
Yeah, also a good question. So I think back in November when this happened, I think it was mostly just that price action was, just a bit choppy, or just kind of like didn't align as much with the strategy, I guess. I must say I've never like too heavily focused on that side of things. Like obviously I have the data, but I trade like throughout the whole year. Basically, I only take a proper break usually like in summer, like August, because August is a bit slower sometimes. And you need a break as well, right? Like mentally and Christmas. But aside from that, I'd kind of just trade through the periods. There's some that are usually a bit better, like seasonally. January and February are a bit worse based on my life data for the past 2 years. This January was all right. But I kind of like, I think to a certain degree, it's also like, I don't think like 2 years is necessary for that particular thing, enough data to say, okay, January is just shit, like don't trade it completely. I think I'd rather have like 5 years or something. And apart from that, like my strategy is kind of very, very also mechanical in that sense. It involves little discretion. So it's not that I like, based even on my strategy, I'm forced to trade that often. There's also times where like for a few days or a week, I just have no trade, right? So I think it makes it possible for me to be able to like just trade through the year, even in a worse period, and still be able to navigate through it. But it would be something it could make sense to look into it a bit further, actually. Yeah.
And in terms of course, when it comes down to it, for your mental stability, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Obviously, charts is great, making money is great, but what do you do outside of the charts? Because it's draining. I know. When you go on the charts, you're taking trades, it's war.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Or it can be very rough. So I think for me, the gym is like my key thing that really helps me. I started with the gym before trading, so it's something I've been doing for 5+ years, I think like 6 years or something. And for my mind, I think any form of kind of like working out is great. Taking walks maybe perhaps, but working out is really the main thing. And aside from that, you just have to take breaks occasionally. Like you really have to, like.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a performance thing, right? You have to be on par mentally, and you can't full nonstop just keep going.
Okay, first, what do you think about reverse risk to reward ratio strategies? Because I've seen a
What
couple.
reverse risk to
So, for
reward?
example, normally you go for 1 to 2.
Negative risk to reward.
Negative, yeah.
I think, honestly, I'll be very honest with you, I think you can make money with that technically, because I know of some people in the future space who do it, and apparently it does work for them, at least in the prop industry. Maybe it wouldn't work on a personal, but on a prop firm, potentially it works as like a business, you know.
I asked this because what's come to my head is that, I'm not sure if you remember, 2-3 years ago, there was that one individual, he was a reverse risk to reward trader, and he wiped out everyone's accounts that was connected to his copy trading. Do you remember that? It was on Twitter.
I mean, I don't have the name immediately in my head, but if you tell me 100%,
I can't remember myself. But
I mean, there's many such examples, yeah. I mean, to be very honest, I think it is possible to make money that way. I'm not saying it's not. I think it also depends on the amount that you're negative. Like if it's, 0.1 or 0.9, for example, that's a big difference. I think it's possible, but I think it's probably not the most or the best approach, I guess, or the one that's the most productive in that way. I think mentally it's not easy as well.
Okay, cool. Let me ask you off the back of that, the opposite, all right? Extreme risk to reward ratio strategy.
Yeah, that's just unrealistic, man. Like when you see people with like these
1 to 20
these screenshots, like 1 to like this kind of stop and then this take profit, you already know it's either a demo or it's
usually they normally have the lot size covered in the
100%. Like just show it, man. Like it ain't that deep. I mean, you just know. I mean, obviously it can be possible that one trade.
Yes, 100%. But the issue,
but as a core,
the problem I have with this is it sets an unrealistic expectation of what trading is,
I get
and
what
it gets.
you mean, yeah.
There's a certain demographic that's targeting, and that demographic is losing money. But it's a funny space, the social media trading space.
It's a very, very funny space. Yeah, it's entertaining, to be fair.
So you learn a lot as well. I've learned a lot through social media myself.
100%, man. Like I think doing social media is actually quite cool in that sense as well. As you say, you do learn a lot and you pick up on a lot of things, and it also helps you for your own trading because you understand how people kind of like behave and stuff, where you can also like see patterns and actually learn specific things from. I think the space in general is just very infiltrated with BS. In trading, particular in this space, it's just kind of like an issue we have. And unfortunately, as a beginner, it's really hard to understand. I mean, I was how do you say, a victim of that as well, right?
Did you get into into MLM? Sorry,
what's that? MLM?
As in like pyramid schemes.
I definitely did. And then I was also caught up in other communities or whatever before I found, the final one.
But a lot of traders will have that same story as well.
No valid track record, just kind of BS. It's unfortunately just something you have to navigate through. It really helps, I think, if you know somebody that's actually like real. Because I've got like a friend who I got into trading, for example. Like I was kind of able for him to make it possible for him to not have to deal with all that BS because he knew me and I could show him like the more real side of it and navigate him in that way. I unfortunately didn't have that back then, but it's fine. But yeah, I think if you can have someone, that's definitely great.
All right. Thank you, Harry, for this interview. Appreciate you coming down.
Appreciate you too, man.
And really enjoy speaking